Tuesday on the East Coast Deplorables. We are back in house. We've got the guy in the corner who's loaded with, I can't tell you how much candy and juice, and he's insane. Then we got the GOAT, then we got the only one and only Cindy, and then me. You know, so it's crazy stuff, man. It is. Right before we got on the air, we were talking about getting old. And let me tell you, I pulled this Charlie horse on my pinky toe while I was driving on my right foot.
That hurt.
I almost killed people today because I didn't know what to do. I'm sitting there trying to, you know, twitching and turning and trying to straighten. You can't straighten out your toes inside your shoes. You know, it was crazy.
Have you ever had? I guess I can call it a shin cramp.
Oh yeah.
Oh, bro, stop and go traffic, trying to come home. Trying to get to Long Island from the city in rush hour, and all of a sudden, from my knee to the top of my foot freezes, and I can't move from the gas to the brake. I'm literally, I try to switch legs and drive with my left foot just to try and give it a break. But the thing is, as soon as I come to a stop and I get out of the car, it disappears like it never happened. It's the weirdest thing.
You know what that is? It's omenitis. That's what it is.
Omenitis.
Omenitis.
That's it.
Yeah. And when you slow it down, it's old man-itis. That's what it is.
We call it old-timers.
Listen,
not old-timers, old-timers.
My grandfather, when I was young, he would say to me, Kevin, slow down. You're going too hard. It's going to hurt you one day. And I was like, Pops, what are you talking about, man?
Grandpa Ed.
Remember him? The Irish
leprechaun? I love that man.
He was about 4'9".
Grandpa came to mind recently. Where was I? I was in Costco with the wife shopping, and they had corned beef on sale because Patty Day's coming up, right?
Yeah.
So I will never forget. You know how certain things happen in your life, and it's burned in your mind forever.
Yeah.
We had the Patty's Day party at the Knights, right?
Right.
And the following day, that weekend, Grandpa Ed comes to the bar. And he goes, hey, John, he goes, what'd you think of the party and this and that? I'm like, it was all right, you know, considering I'm not an Irishman, right? And he goes, I took some of that corned beef home and resold my shoes with it. I will never forget that line as long as I live. And I'm like, if anybody knows corned beef, it's Grandpa Ed.
That's it, man. This guy was my buddy. I recently found pictures of me when I was young and shorter than him, which really nobody is ever shorter than my grandfather. He's the ultimate leprechaun, always dressed to the 90s with the hat, you know. And I can remember his drink was VO and ginger. That's all. That's all the man drank. And
his face is forever etched in my mind.
He was a class act, man. He was a class act, you know.
Yes,
but he was. We got Patty's Day coming up, and you know everybody is Irish on St. Patrick's Day. Doesn't matter what you are.
I'm Italian.
Italian, that's it. That is it, man.
John's got like dashes on his face. It's like the lines on the Long Island Expressway.
Well, John and Vern,
See it?
You're gonna love this. All right, John and Vern, and maybe a couple others, are the only, and besides my wife, are the only ones in the world that know a major secret that I have. And I'm going to dish it out today.
So now
everybody's going to know this now. This was about
coming out of the closet.
3 years. It's the wiggle with the walk. Leave me alone, okay? And 3 years ago, my mother decides to tell me that I've got a sister. And I'm like, really? I said, where is she? And she said, lives in Jersey. And I'm like, oh. And she goes, she's older than you.
Besides the one you knew about it.
Besides my little sister, right? Who's the youngest.
Yeah.
So like, oh, she's older than me, and she lives in Jersey, and we had her on there for about 6 seconds till she dropped the F-bomb. You remember her,
right? Oh, that sister.
That sister.
She got us barred from
everything.
Media platform we can belong to.
That's it. So
the Jerseyan.
My Jersey girl Rosemary, right? And we meet, everything's great, and then my mother seems to forget things, and she tells me another thing, and she goes, hey, Kevin, forgot to tell you something. I said, what, Ma? And she goes, your father's not your father.
What?
I said, what? What are you talking about? And she goes, yeah, your father is so-and-so. And she goes, and you're not Irish, you're Italian. Mm-hmm. And I went, you son of a... Because at the time, I decided I was going to retire from sales and become an old man barber. I'm a master barber, right? So I opened up a barber shop. and I call this barbershop Irish Kevin's Barbershop.
Right.
And I'm like, what the hell am I going to do now? I dumped tens of thousands of dollars into a barbershop called Irish Kevin's, and you're telling me I'm a guinea. What's up with this?
Wow.
So now I got to
Call it Goomba. Goomba Kevin.
Goomba Kevin, Giuseppe's. What am I supposed to do now? You killed me here. The barbershop no longer exists. You know, I got the logo. That's about it. So I too, you know, now celebrate it. So what'd you call it, John? Oh, what?
Italian.
Italian.
I celebrate Italian Day too. So all the Kiss Me Irish and the Man Irish T-shirts that I got in the garbage. Everything's in the garbage now.
Do you remember? You remember our sweetheart that's near and dear to us when she busted your you-know-whats that you were Hispanic and called you Mahon?
Ow. We alienated.
So Mahon. For all you Puerto Ricans and Spanish people out there, you know what Mahon means. It's not, but you know what I found out in my later days, in my later life here, that I found out Mahon, there's a thing called, it's Mahon cheese. There's a Mahon cheese, and it's very good. So,
oh really?
I'm cheesy versus the other side, the other word. And put it this way, Cindy, Mahon.
I'm closing my ears.
No. I mean, this one's gonna be clean. Well, it's gonna be clean and not clean. So Mahon in Spanish,
Don't tell me.
the slang means number two.
Okay.
So I would have people call me that, and we would get in fights because of it.
Oh,
you know.
yeah, well.
But the girl
You
that was
fight?
dear and sweet to my heart, I was like, that's coming out of your mouth. That's terrible.
Bad. That's
It was
bad.
terrible.
Yeah, that's bad.
But
We don't want
anyway,
that.
I'm.
So we're all Irish.
We're all Irish on the 17th.
Yeah.
And you know, I used to do the whole thing, the corned beef and cabbage.
I love it.
I absolutely love it. You know, and I believe it, John. I got it from Eddie. He told me, this is how you make it, and he showed me, you know, before. You'll put the corned beef in there, then the fat would start to peel off, and it goes to the top. And he goes, you got to skim it off the top, you know, and then you put your mustard seeds in. He showed me, he gave me the whole routine, and I was like, wow. And that's the only thing.
I'm hungry now.
I know, right? It's the only thing I cook. And believe it or not, John, I can cook Thanksgiving. I can cook a whole Thanksgiving. I can't put toast in the toaster, but I can cook a Thanksgiving meal, and I even have my own stuffing recipe. So,
really?
we're all starving now. Every single one of us are touching our lips.
Let's call it to go. Or
you know, we got to get us some heroes or something.
My claim to fame in the kitchen is omelets.
Omelets?
I was always an omelet king, and I recently picked it up again. I hadn't made it in a while, and I got my whole family addicted to my omelets. My wife's like, baby, gonna make me an omelet? Baby, gonna make me an omelet?
That's
so
awesome.
that's my deal. I'm the omelet guy.
Are you a flipper?
My wife has become an extraordinary cook. When she was forced to retire because she has some autoimmune issues, and she really started studying recipes and this and that. And we were just talking about this yesterday. She's more Italian than she is Greek, and she cooks like an Italian, and she saves recipes and forget about it. She's nuts.
Well, that's the great thing about New York. The cultures in New York, it's the melting pot of the world.
Yeah.
And you have, we grew up when we're in our neighborhood, it was Italian. We had all the Villa Guardia, I mean, the delis. We had primary Italian. Trio Deli was Greek, you know.
The German delis by me out in the island. German delis, Jewish delis.
That's right, German. So remember on Steinway Street, John, there was a deli called Filthy Phil's. The guy had remember the sawdust they'd have on the floor? It used to be next to where Cookie Kingdom was. It was an old thing.
Yes.
But you'd go in there and he had the sawdust on the floor, and I remember that, and I was like, oh my God, man.
Yeah, because it was a butcher shop too. It did both.
Yes.
That's why it had the sawdust. Yeah.
And then what was the guy on the corner on 43rd? Was that Phil?
Yes, Phil.
That was Phil.
Phil
right?
Iannucci.
Phil Iannucci, yeah.
Phil Iannucci.
So that was
I went to his funeral.
He did. Wow.
You didn't kill him, did you?
John did.
No. This man was a legend in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
He had he was a butcher shop / deli. He was on the corner of our block. and he was all of maybe 120 pounds soaking
Yeah,
wet.
little guy.
Wow.
Slick
Back
grease
hair.
back
Yeah.
hair. He could have been out of Goodfellas.
The place was
And
dark
that's the
all
way
the
he
time.
talked.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did they
that's the
smoke
way he talked.
DeNobly cigars?
They would smoke back then.
No,
in
he
the
did
strip.
smoke though.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
was cutting steaks and had a cigarette hanging out of his mouth as he was doing it.
Hey, Mom,
But
what's the
I
new
used to cut
season?
out of school. I used to cut out of school and hang out in his store right on the
Yeah.
corner of my block.
Right on
I
the cor- yeah, it
became
was right
friends
down
with
the-
his son.
He was steps away from John's
So-
house, right across the street from the
Oh, yeah.
laundromat.
How,
You know,
Yeah,
he had a
yeah,
book.
yeah.
You remember the book? So, I was, I'm gonna say this. I was a fat little kid, right?
Oh, we
now I'm a
can't
fat.
believe
Now I'm a
that.
You
fat
weren't
big
that
kid,
fat.
right? But what I would do is I would go over to Phil. So but like this is what was so great about back then. Like he would have a book, and if your family didn't have money, he would put it in the book. Like you'd go shopping at this
Right.
guy's store, and he'd write
Hang
down.
up. We used to
Yeah.
call hanging up.
Yeah, he'd put $10 in the book, $20 in the
Yeah.
book, whatever it is. So I would go there when I was a little kid. I'd come down Newtown, right? And I'd go over to Phil's and I'd say, Phil, can I get a bologna sandwich? And he'd say, what do you want me to do? Are you going to pay for it this time? I said, no. My mother said to put it on the book. So he put it in the book for me. I don't even know what it cost back then. 50 cents maybe or whatever it was. I remember one time my mom came home and she says, come here, I want to talk to you. I said, what? And she goes, what's this? I said, what's what? She goes, what is this 30 bologna sandwiches on my book bill? And I'm like, Keith did it. I didn't do that. I blamed it on my brother. I said, that kid, he just has no respect, Mom. And I might have been 8 or 9 years old.
Right.
This man was so sharp. This is back before cell phones, beepers, all
Yeah.
that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And he had a telephone behind the counter. And if you wanted to make a phone call, he had a coffee can hanging
Yeah.
off the wall with a slot cut into the plastic thing. And he would tell you to drop a dime in there and make your phone call. He didn't care. But he knew if you actually dropped the coin, because the can wasn't stable. So when you could just slap the top of the can and it jiggled and it sounded like the change would make noise inside. And he would know from the other side of the store, put a dime in there, you son of a, We used to call him the Gooch. The Gooch Ianooch.
Right.
And that would those are those days where it was like I miss him, man.
Yeah.
It's like it was so
Yeah.
it was simple. There was
was.
nothing complicated
Yeah.
Life's
about
not
those
like
days.
that no more.
No.
Look what we got going today. It's like holy
Yeah.
crap, man.
Yeah, we called that. We used to hang up at Five
desensitized.
Corners. They
Five-
put it in the book, yeah.
What'd you say, Cindy? 5 corners?
The store that was by us, it was run by Swedish people, and if you didn't have any money, they'd let you hang. We called it hanging up, and then they put the money, and we always paid. We always paid.
Yeah, everybody paid, you know?
we paid.
And
Eventually, we did.
eventually. That was the
Yeah.
word, eventually. But the book got bigger. You
Yeah,
know,
it
and,
did.
and then as I got older in the delis, it was a different type of book we were running inside
Right.
those
Well, they
delis
had
back
those
then.
too. They had those too.
You know?
Yeah.
Listen, I remember I was young, and this was down before I moved up to where John's neighborhood was. I lived, it was down Crescent Street, and across the street there was a candy store. And when you went in there was just one little tiny glass counter, and then there was like Swedish fish and Tootsie Rolls and.
Those were the favorite Swedish
Right,
fish.
and
Yeah.
you weren't worried about the cooties back then. You could just stick your whole hand inside the
Right.
jar and
Yeah.
mix it around and touch it. And
Lick your hand.
bubble gums, and you didn't matter. You're breaking snot inside this thing. It didn't matter, right? And then there was another cooler that was there. That was Italian ice. And all that was in there was cherry, rainbow, and chocolate. That was it. Those are 3, right? And I can remember the Italian ices were 15 cents.
Marinos.
for some
Marinos
reason-
Italian ice.
Yeah, for some reason I never had the nickel. So I was like, well, you take the dime. I would talk them into. I knew I was going to be a salesman because I would talk them into the dime. I was like, come on, you could eat the nickel, But I don't know if you guys remember, but this was a bike. And for all you young people out there that are listening, you have no idea what we're all talking about right now. We don't care. So anyway, I rode a bike that was called an Apollo 5-speed.
Okay.
Right? It was amazing. I actually am looking for one on the internet. I just love to have it,
Those are big dollars now.
Oh, it had the shifter in the middle, John. It was amazing. So I'd ride my bike back
Ball
and forth.
breaker.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I would ride that bike in front of Sonny's candy store. And once in a while, Sonny would come out and he'd say, Gavin, do me a favor, go to the bakery. He says, go pick this up for me and bring it back. So I pedal my butt up to the bakery, and I get back and I hand it to him. and he gave me like $20. Now back then,
that's like $500.
I'm telling you, I was like,
money,
whoa.
man.
Wow.
You know, and I said, Sonny, I'm here for you. Anything you ever need, I'm here for you.
I'm gonna wax
Never
something.
look in the bag.
Those
That's Sonny from Bronx
That
Tale?
was it. It's right. See, yeah. Well, listen. He goes, Kevin. The only thing I ask of you, right? This is gonna be movie, John. He goes, never look in the box.
Oh no.
Right? I won't look in the box. So, next time he comes to Kevin, go to bakery. I say, no problem. I got to start pedaling again. I go up, and now I got the box in the middle here.
Were you running the numbers? Is that
Well,
what it
check
was?
it out. I'm going, and I'm going fast, and I start slowing down because my mind starts going, and all I hear in my mind is, "Don't look in the box." And I'm like, "Oh God, this is killing me." So I finally get there and I give it to him. Did you look in the box? I said, no, I don't look in the box. I don't do it. Just enjoy your pastry. See you later. I take off. Weekend comes around. He says, Gav. I said, I got it. Boom, I go. Now I'm coming back and I see an alleyway and I pull into the alleyway, go all the way to the back of the house. And I'm like, this thing's got like 6 strings, crossed, tied tight with 19 knots. And I'm like, oh man, how am I going to look in this box? And I open it up on the side, the seam, and I look inside. I'm like, what's he so worried about? It's nothing but a bunch of garbage pieces of paper.
Oh no!
So I come running back, and he goes, "Did you look in the box?" And I was about to say no, and I go, "Yeah, I looked in the box. There's nothing but crap paper in there." He goes, and he handed me $50 because I told the truth.
Oh wow!
There you go.
So I would take this money and I would just roll it up, and we had in our basements. The basements were made of stone, They were old houses, old brownstones and stuff. And I would, there was one that was loose, and I'd pull it out and I'd stick the money in there, and I would just put the stone back.
Oh wow!
And my big thing is that I can go up to the corner. It was called Good Food. That's all it said. Good Food, name of the store. And I would buy the Charleston chews and the big, huge Tootsie Rolls, and I'd come down.
More bang for your buck with the Charleston Chew.
I was big time. And the main thing was when Mr. Softy came around, I never had to look up at the window and go, Ma, the ice cream man is here. I'd be like, yo, who wants an ice cream? I got it today, I would stand on the side and buy it. Then I'd buy all the girls the little, what do you want? I got it. Don't go to your parents. I got you today. I was big time back then, 9 years old. I'm telling you. But I didn't know I was truly running book for Sonny. Literally running book from store to store. Now check this out. And I don't care.
The sign of things to come.
They're all dead now, except for one. The name of the store, the name of the bakery was called Walken's Bakery, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when I was younger,
Christopher Walken.
Bingo, baby. Remember that? Remember that store? And we would go in there, and I would throw water balloons at him because he was goofy looking. He was ugly.
Oh my goodness!
And we'd open the door and say, "Hey, stupid!" And we'd throw water balloons at the guy, and I'd start running. So years and years ago, we went out. It was Silver Screens, John. Remember Silver Screens on Steinway? Alderman Steinway Street? It was a club.
Yeah.
And I go walking in this club, I'm thinking I'm big time walking in, and I go sit at my little section over there, and he's there. And I'm like, oh, wow, look at this guy. He's here, And I see him talk with a bunch of people, and it kind of congregates over to where we are. And the guy's really got my back to me at this point. And he's with his goons and the whole 9 yards. And the guy just turns around and looks at me. He goes, I should go outside and buy a bucket and fill it with water and throw it in your face. Oh, and I go, excuse me. Now, you know me.
Were you like this?
I sit there and go, what are you talking about? He goes, what do you think? Your face changes? I said, I don't know what you're talking about. He goes, how many times you hit me? About 50 times in my face with a water balloon. You think I'd forget that? I'd say, well, I will say, Mr. Walken, you do really good movies, And that was it. He just walked away. So I was like, he's probably going to get a bucket. So I got a little nervous today.
Yeah.
Beat Street out the back door. But yeah, that was my experience with Christopher Walken. Me and him are buddies now, by the way.
A lot of famous people came from our hood.
Right?
Man.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And what they got?
It was a great place to grow up.
It was. But, John, what do we got? Give me something. What's going on this past week?
My God. Yeah, we're going to get to world news now?
Let's get to
nationwide news?
Oh, no.
Let's get to work.
I literally...
Vern was going to talk before.
Oh, wait,
Vern, were you going to say something before?
Oh, go ahead, Vern. I'm sorry.
Vern's had his head down in his...
No, you weren't? Okay, I thought you were. I thought you were going to say
You
something.
good? You got nothing?
Oh, I got all kinds of stuff.
I know, because that's what I mean. He was sitting down in the corner, the guy in the corner, with his face, and I could see his fingers moving on that stupid thing he's got, and his candy. You know, see, he don't share, Cindy. You notice that?
Yeah, but we don't need any.
This is weeks and this is weeks now. He don't share. He don't share, John. He's a pig. He don't give a crap.
See, we don't need it.
Buckets of candy over there like it's
Remember they
Halloween.
used to tell you in school, if you didn't bring enough of everybody, don't bring any at all.
He don't care.
Back in the
He
old
just don't
days.
care.
Yep.
They
All right,
still do that.
So, John, you lead off. What you
Okay,
got?
go ahead, John.
So, first of all, before we went on the air, I started thinking to myself how so much has happened since last week that I feel like we needed to do an extra show. I mean, because
Crazy.
we closed last week's show with Nikki Haley still being a hemorrhoid and
Oh.
not knowing where we're going. She drops out the next day.
The following
Finally
day,
came
yeah.
to her senses. She's out. Then over the weekend, Trump goes to the UFC fight and he gets standing O.
Yeah.
Everybody went bananas for him.
Yep.
You know, it's a lot. And then today in the news, what do we got? We got let's talk about the State of the Union.
Right. I was just going to
And what
say that we can't bypass
The
that.
buffoon and the word salad that was coming out of his feeble mouth. Does he have his original teeth?
I don't know.
Because I
We
wonder if
don't
he can
care.
blame his dentures for all the foolishness that's coming out of his mouth. But you know, the part that's really there's two topics that I want to talk about. Number one, we'll start with the State of the Union first. This whole thing about this poor girl, Laken Riley,
Yeah.
and being slaughtered by an illegal alien,
Yeah.
an illegal immigrant. And that
Mhm.
Biden called it at State of the Union, called him illegal, and then backtracked it
Yeah.
and said, no, he's undocumented. I'm
Right.
sorry, you came across the border illegally. You are an illegal immigrant. I don't care how you want to twist it or turn it or sugarcoat it. That's not what the truth is. Okay? So with that being said, this whole dynamic about the immigration situation, this whole open border thing is really, there are things that are going on with this border that people don't realize.
Yep.
Okay? This flood of illegals are purposely going to sanctuary cities. Okay?
Right.
And they, first of all, the Democrats want this because they're losing the middle class. The Democrats need voters. Okay? So they're flooding these blue states, these sanctuary cities where they don't have to be citizens, they just have to be bodies, and they
Right.
get counted for more representatives, which ends up helping them with electoral votes. Okay, so that is a big issue. But there's another issue that people aren't touching on, and maybe I'm going to overstep in saying this. Okay, and let me preface this by saying I'm not trying to profile anybody. Okay, everybody has a right to live. Everybody has a right to believe what they want to believe. Okay,
Correct.
but with that being said, we have a problem in this country at the risk of getting religious. Okay, let's talk about faith for a second. Okay, Christians are being persecuted. Okay,
Mhm.
the whole Christian faith is under a microscope. Okay, and if it was up to our Muslim faction, we wouldn't exist.
Right.
Okay, those same people are coming over the border. Okay,
Correct.
so here's my double-edged sword. Again, this is just my opinion. Okay, these illegals that will say I'm gonna say Hispanic, I'm just gonna profile them that way. It's a pretty good chance that they're Christian.
Hold on. I'm
Okay.
going to stop you. We got to take a break. We got to pay for the show. All right? We'll be back in a little bit. Don't you lose it. Hang on, John.